guys, welcome to today's video. So today we're talking about, I think, a thought that may cross some homeschool parents' minds every so often, and that is should we send our kids back to public school? My family recently had a very random conversation. It was out of the blue. It was not planned. It just very organically happened, and it really opened up my eyes. We've been homeschooling for going on 4 years now. Two of my daughters did have a public school experience. My oldest daughter had more of a public school experience. And so it was very eye-opening to, I guess, hear their opinions, and hear their opinions change too. From, I think, when we first started homeschooling to, years later now, of their thoughts and, them, maybe wanting to go back to public school. When this conversation happened, there's a lot of things going through my mind. We've been away from public school for quite some time, and I think because I had a first-hand experience with it, and I have very strong feelings, especially at that point in time when I made the decision to take my kids out of school and homeschool them. There was very negative things going on in public schools that still continue. It's just when you're not living it, when you're not in it, when you're not dealing with the public school daily, it's been years later that I've had to deal with that. It's very easy to forget the negative. It's very easy to be like, well, this could be a pro, this could be a benefit of them going back to public school. So as a working homeschooling mom, wow, all three of my kids could go to the same school, because the way some of our schools are here, they're elementary and middle school together. I could just wake up in the morning, I could just drop them all off and have my entire day without needing to do things for them and just go pick them up, right? I could take the pressure of me choosing curriculum and grading things and planning stuff out and all of this and put it on a school. I could take the pressure of activities and co-ops and sports. I'm trying to find a legit volleyball league for my daughter because she's good at it and she should be competing and she should, be practicing and playing games every so often. And when you're not in a school setting where that's all provided for you, all that pressure lies on you, right? Or I could just send them to school. She could try out, make the team. There we go. All of that's happening. A kid, my youngest son, he's never had a school experience. All that pressure is on me. I'm the only one responsible for his education. At least my daughters, I can kind of be like, well, they went to public school. Not that I'm saying it's negative, but there was a shared responsibility. With him, I'm like, gosh, it's all on me, which homeschool parents do all the time. So I'm just saying, what kind of thoughts go through your head. Don't start going in the comments like, well, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm really just trying to say, honestly, what thoughts are going on in my head. It could be good for my son. He's never been away from me. I've always pretty much worked from home since he's been little. And so he's always been at home with me. He's never gone away to school all day. He tried daycare for a very short period and it did not work out. But he was very little, so I don't think he remembers. Does he need that experience? Is that why my older daughters are so good at homeschool? Because they understand what real school is. They understand that, structured environment. He doesn't understand that structured environment. Are they having too much fun? They're always in co-op activities and all of this. Do they need to be a little bit more structured? Am I doing enough? They only spend 2.5, 3 hours a day on schoolwork. Should they be doing school for 8 hours? Should they have homework assignments? I don't know. So it's very easy to get these thoughts in your head. It's very easy. It's very easy to feel like you're not doing enough. But what is crazy is that I knew I wasn't the only one. So I went on my Instagram and I asked, have you thought about sending your kids back to public school and why? And I just want to share some of those because I think it's very important. I think a lot of times, even I've done it. I've done it on my channel where it's like you should homeschool your kids. You could do it. Anybody can homeschool their kids. It's the best option for their kids. It's not that I don't believe that, but I also think we need to understand these thoughts that go through our heads at different points in our homeschool, different situations we may be going through in our home that we are considering the option of sending our kids back to public school. A lot of people in the responses are talking about teenagers and that socially, sports, that is maybe a concern for high school. And again, I was kind of on that was my thought for like sports. Well, if I have a child who's really good at sports, how do I make sure that I'm supporting that at homeschool when there could be such an easy out option sending them to public school for that? What about things like prom and all those traditional high school experiences? My kids are in a co-op that is, there's like over, I don't know, 200 families, so like over 400 kids. It's through, pre-K all the way up to high school. They have different age groups, but I don't think that's normal. I really don't. I live in a very big city where we have a very big homeschool population, and so my kids socially are not missing out on anything, to be honest. They're actually more social than they were when they were in school. If I didn't have that, I don't know what my kids would be doing as far as a prom, or like my oldest daughter went to like a fall formal dance, or they have like a spring formal dance. They have daddy-daughter dances. Like, they get to experience all those things because of a co-op. If we don't have a co-op, how do they experience those things? And this is a very honest conversation. So if you don't have that social co-op support system for those older ages, how are you satisfying that? There are a couple people who just said in general, when times are hard. Yeah, because all the pressure is on you. It really is. You are making all the decisions. You are playing teacher and you are playing mom. And that is a hard balancing act because you never get a break. To be honest, you always have to be on. You're always making decisions. You're always second guessing if it's right, if it's wrong. What am I doing here? So that is what I mean. It would be very easy to take that responsibility and drop it somewhere else. And I'm not saying that people who have their kids in public school are like, they don't have any responsibility. They do. They definitely do. But it's a different level. It's a completely different level when you're not picking out curriculum. You're not making sure they're, where you want them to be. It's just a different experience. A couple people also said because they either are working or they need to go back to work for whatever financial reason. And so I am fortunate enough to work from home, and also we are just in a good flow. Like, my kids are used to it. My kids don't need me sitting with them all day long to get their schoolwork done. I don't think that's I don't think it's not normal, but I don't expect that to be normal. So I know that this situation isn't for everyone. I also have a very good support system. I have a mother-in-law who helps when I can't do things during the day because I work. If I didn't have that support system, I would also be in a different predicament as well. What if I have to go back physically to work? What if I don't want to work remote anymore, because that's also another choice. Obviously we all work for financial reasons. Like, I don't really know anyone that would do their job for free unless it's like, something else. But it's also very hard being home all the time. Like, I love being out home with my kids all the time, but I also miss interacting with adults. So there's that too. Like, what if a mom really does want to go work out of the house or go volunteer? Like, it doesn't even have to be working, but like go around others. How do you deal with that dynamic? I think this thought is out there, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. I think you hear a lot of people saying, no, just homeschool, it's all good. Well, it's not always good. There are things that make you question it, and it could be because you're having a hard homeschooling day. It's maybe because you don't have enough social activities for your kids. So I totally understand the thought of wanting to send your kids back to public school. And ultimately, I think you as the parent of your kids are going to make the best decision for your kids. I mean, that's just what it is. I wish our school systems were better. I know every state is different too, so like, and there's different options, right? Like there's traditional public school or there's private school, but then you talk about financing. So I'm not here to tell you like one way or the other. I just like wanted to like have like a really honest conversation because I know it happens, because it happened in our home, and it really like almost stunned me because it was almost like I was like, whoa, like just kind of like thinking all those things like, wow, maybe it is also magical because I've been away from it for so long. Like, oh, maybe my kids do need to be in a school all day, 8 hours a day. And, you know, to be honest, to talk about it, it was a very honest conversation. And it started with us moving to another state, as we do plan to do in the next couple years. And we were talking about this specific state, and we were talking about how good their education system is. They are ranked one of the top in education, and the state we currently live in is like one of the bottom. So it's like night and day. And then, you know, if we were to move, we lose our co-op that we have here. We lose my support system as my mother-in-law. And so those two main things that make our homeschool and our situation work so well go away. And so it is a very honest conversation. If we move, would you go back to school? It's on the table. It is completely 1,000% on the table. Could we still homeschool? 1,000%. Will we? Probably, to be honest, but the option is out there. And then that option rolled into, well, you know, why can't we just go back to school now? And that's when I was just like, I don't know. Let's talk about this. My kids' opinions do matter to me. However, my kids are still kids, and ultimately, I don't think they're at the mental capability to make the best life choices, right? If I asked my kids to go to the grocery store and pick out, you know, what they wanted to eat for every meal of their day, I don't know if I would trust their choice, to be honest. So as much as their opinion does matter, and I do listen to their opinion, ultimately, obviously the decision will be mine and my husband's. And so here's what I did. I listened to my kids. Why do you want to go back to public school? Pretty much the only answer I got that was like substantial was so I could be around my friends every day. And then I had to remind them that their friends are in their co-op for homeschool. That, mind you, they see almost every day, almost every other day, right? So that to me was like, okay, well, that's not really a reason why. And you're kind of mistaken, because that's not how it's going to work. But then that made me think, okay, what was I questioning? I'm questioning, am I doing enough curriculum-wise? Are they learning enough? And so that is where I had to kind of step in and tell myself, yes, you're doing enough. Yes, they're learning enough. You're doing, if not just as much more than they would get in public school. I think my kids, when I compare them to peers who go to public school, speak at a higher level. They are more social. They have higher social standards and skills than peers in public school. And so I just had to remind myself that. Also, if you're ever feeling a little wild and you want to send your kids back to public school, just go on your local go on Facebook and type in like your school district and like see all the parents posting and stuff. Join your local school's Facebook group and see what all the parents are complaining about. I guarantee you, you will run faster than you ever ran. Schools are, you know, running out of teachers. Teachers are not happy. Teachers don't, you know, get what they deserve as far as pay, as far as, you know, appreciation. They don't get the resources that they need. There's too many kids in classrooms. There's not enough like rules. So like, especially in our school district, like teachers can't really discipline kids. So kids can just be wild and do whatever they want. There's a lot of like, you know, woke stuff happening, and You know, I don't find that needing to be in schools. And again, I have to remind myself, I see a very hard divide with what's good for my kids socially and what's good educationally. I want a safe educational space for them. Public schools, I'm sorry, even if you send them back, that's not where their safe educational space will be. Even if they go to the best school in the world, there's way too much going on in schools for that to be just like a very safe educational space for them to discover their interests, for them to excel, for them to graduate early, for them to, you know, find a career path. There's a lot too much going on in schools for all that. So if you're feeling wild and you don't really have like a very valid reason, you're just like, it sounds good, just do some research. Go on your local, you know, school district website, go to their board meetings, see what's going on, because it's not pretty out there. It's really not. It's not even funny because it is scary what's going on out there. It's not just like a traditional school experience anymore, at least in some school districts. I mean, I can't talk about every single school. I can't talk about every single thing. I can just tell you, we've been there, we've done it, I've seen it. I pulled my kids out for a reason, and those reasons have not gotten fixed. I hope the schools, you know, redeem themselves and it goes back to like what they're meant to be. It's just like not at that point right now. So I just thought that this video was kind of like important to like chat and talk about it because it happened in our home. And, you know, it makes you think. It does. It makes you question things like, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Would it be easier? Would it be harder? And so it's really something like you really have to like what are the hard pros and cons? And like you have to be like honest with yourself. But like also if your kid is like, you know, if you don't have a co-op support, if your kid does not have any outside social activities with other kids, you either need, and they want that, then you have to figure out, how can I give them that? And honestly, school might be it. You might end up having a kid that needs to go to school. You may have multiple kids where one needs to go to public school and one, you know, does better in homeschool. Because ultimately, it's like not every kid's the same and not everything's going to work out. So I would try to figure out your options. But again, like deep down, like what is the issue at hand? Why is your kid wanting this? Why are you wanting this? Like, what's the alternative to it? And kind of figuring it out from there. So on that note, no, my kids are not going back to public school in the future. Could they? I mean, anything's possible. I've said that 100 times on my channel. I don't know. We all think we know what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years, but if you would have asked me 5 or 10 years prior what my life would look like, I wouldn't tell you exactly how it is now. So there's things to definitely consider. And I think it's, again, make your list, your pros and cons, and really like consider like what's going to benefit your family the most, what's going to be the best decision for your family, for your kids, overall, right? Nothing's perfect. So let's just get that out of the window. Homeschooling's not perfect either. Public school is not perfect. So like what is going to be the best compromise in your family? So I would love to hear your thoughts, comments. Again, this video is not meant to criticize or be mean. I really just like wanted to talk it out and like share my thoughts and some others that I asked. So if you're willing to talk and discuss, leave those down below in the comments. Thanks so much for supporting my channel. Thanks for being here, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks, guys. We'll chat soon. Bye.